presenting a case of a 72-year-old male residing in Hazra who comes with chief complaints of poor flow of urine since 4 months, dribbling of urine since 4 months, and retention of urine since the past 3 days. Patient was apparently well 4 months back when he began to experience difficulty in initiation of urine with poor flow and dribbling of urine which was gradual in onset and is slowly progressive. There is history of urinary retention since the past 3 days, which was acute in onset and was associated with pain and lower abdominal swelling, which was relieved with urinary catheterization. There is no history of fever with chills and rigor, low back pain, weight loss, anemia, pelvic trauma, hematuria, pyuria, or syncope. Patient had a history of chest pain 7 months ago, requiring a drug-eluting stent and a permanent pacemaker for his third-degree heart block. No past history of any pelvic trauma, tuberculosis, phimosis, hematuria, or any STD. Patient is a known diabetic and hypertensive. He is a non-smoker, non-alcoholic with no known allergies. There is no family history of any bladder cancer. The patient is currently on tamsulosin 0.4 mg, clopidogrel 75 mg, aspirin 75 mg, enalapril 5 mg, and epidurolastatin 10 mg. On general physical examination, patient is conscious, cooperative, oriented to time, place, and person. Radial pulse is 70 per minute. His good volume and is regular. All peripheral pulses are palpable. The blood pressure is 138 by 72 millimeters of mercury. Respiratory rate is 12 per minute. There is no pallor, icterus, cyanosis, clubbing, lymphadenopathy, or edema. On airway examination, the mouth opening is 3 fingers, neck movement is adequate, Mallampati grading is grade 2, the thyromental distance is 3 fingers, the patient is edentalus, and venous access was seen in the left hand. On systemic examination in the genitourinary system, on inspection there is no gross abnormality in the lower abdomen and inguinal region. Foley's catheter is present. On palpation there is no suprapubic tenderness and there is no ascites and kidneys are not palpable. In musculoskeletal examination, the spine examination, the spine is centralized and the spaces are well filled. There is no overlying skin infection or inflammation and no other obvious deformities. So my diagnosis is a 72-year-old male posted for TORP with a drug-eluting stent and permanent pacemaker, ASA grade 3 with anticipated difficulty.
Drug-eluting stent we have already discussed. We will not go into it. So we have a new entity called pacemaker. So your problem is solved. Patient had a heart block, already has a pacemaker. What's the problem? If the patient has complete heart block and didn't have a pacemaker, we would have a problem. Now the problem is solved having a permanent pacemaker there. So what's the issue?
Posted for TORP and with a pacemaker.
So what are your considerations? That's precisely what I'm asking. What are your anesthetic considerations?
In this case, I'll like to decrease the electromagnetic interference. So anything which will pacemaker is something which will interfere with the pacing of the heart. That will be avoided.
Why I'm asking you is I'm reminded of 21 years back when I first entered Jitmer Theatre. No? I entered the Jitmer Theatre. So one case on hernia was going on. So Pata was there. So I asked him, any problems in the case? He said, no sir, everyone's fine. When I saw the patient had a temporary pacemaker. I said, patient has a temporary pacemaker, you're telling me there is no problem. So this is the reply he gave me. Sir, because he has a temporary pacemaker, there is no problem. So I am repeating the same words again. Just got reminded of that incident. That was the first interaction with him. Yeah, please tell me what are your considerations now?
So one, he's a 72-year-old, so we'll have some considerations regarding the age of the patient, positioning of the patient. Secondly, the patient has a pacemaker. So if I'm proceeding with regional anesthesia, then I'd like to use, I'd like to decrease the electromagnetic interference, which will.
You want to know what type of pacemaker it is?
It's a DD.
What do you mean by that?
It's a dual pacing, dual sensing, and the response to sensing is also maybe triggered or inhibited.
Is it okay to continue with that if you're going to use cautery, or do you want to change it to a fixed mode?
I'll continue with
What are the pros and cons of it?
Ma'am, first of all, the pacemaker, and I'll ask the surgeon to use short bursts of cautery, probably a bipolar, or if possible, go for a laser TURP. And
That your surgeon has to be familiar with laser TURP, or there should be facilities for doing a bipolar TURP. So if you can't do that,
they will ask for
then you will probably have to change it to a fixed mode.
then yeah,
All we know is the company person can, once he comes, he can just do it in 4 to 5 minutes by placing a magnet on it. He can change it to a VOO mode. At the end of the surgery, he can change it back to the TDI mode. There is no problem with that. The only problem is the logistics of bringing the company person to change it.
You said cautery, right? Electrocautery. Now, when you use a TURP, they generally use a resectoscope. They have a closed wire loop, right? Which they will keep. What is that? What kind of current is used and what is that? Is it a cautery? Is it? I mean,
Here is a cutting current as well as coagulation current. There is no problem with coagulation currents. The cutting problem is the cutting current.
it can be unipolar or bipolar. This is unipolar or bipolar?
Unipolar.
This is unipolar because they put a neutral, the earth plate under the patient's thighs, no, for the conduct. Why do we put that plate?
So to reduce the
Complete the circuit. Complete the circuit.
So if the contact is poor, what will happen? Why? Why burn will happen? Yes. So the exit current which has to come out, the entry point is the point where they are applying the current. It has to exit out. So it needs a wider space, wider area to disperse and come out. If it is concentrated to one side to come out, that area can burn because rest of it is not in contact. The exit area becomes small and then that area burns. You know what's the principle of electrocautery? How many megahertz?
so it is 300 to 500 kilohertz.
Megahertz. So when it converts into the frequencies is so high and it gets converted into megahertz frequency, then it produces heat energy. Right? So the electrical energy which you give is converted directly into heat energy which doesn't penetrate. So when it doesn't penetrate, it burns. Right? If it penetrates, if it has a low frequency kilohertz and all, then it will penetrate. But if it doesn't penetrate, then it will burn. So when you are using that part of your earthing plate or the grounding plate which we call, you know that this current is going to be in that area only. So whether you use unipolar or you use bipolar, it doesn't matter here. Because it is much far away from your pacemaker. Had it been an abdominal surgery, then I would be scared. But in this case, I don't think there has to be anything to worry about. Because your neutral plate would be at the back of the hip or at the thigh level, and the circuit is going to be completed from the prostatic area around that area. So why would that current interfere? That current can also interfere if there are muscular contractions. Right? When you touch the skin with a cautery, when they are cutting it, the muscle contracts. Right? So that's an electrical activity or mechanical stimulation of the muscle by a cautery, which can cause movements, and that can be detected by the pacemaker, small muscular contractions. But here, which muscle is going to contract? It is only the prostate. It's only the visceral part. Nothing, there's no muscular or skin involvement at that area. Only the capsule would be cut. So in TURP, there would be no problems when you use either a bipolar or a unipolar, provided you understand what is happening at that particular point. If you don't understand, you will talk about bipolar. Okay? And you don't need to change the mode. You will have to change the mode. Okay, if Dr. Aruna says you must change the mode, why would you change a mode in this to a fixed mode? What can cause abnormal picking up of signals? Yes, absolutely. Patient can be shivering,
Shivering will do.
right? So these things are the ones which can cause undue muscular contractions like we were talking about contrary. So environmental factors can play a role. Old age, they are very prone to go into hypothermia. There will be a lot of fluid, they will be drenched in fluid, right? So there are high chances that the patient can have shivering. And if they have shivering, then you are into a problem. Your pacemaker can pick up wrong signals, right? How do you know your pacemaker is working?
So first of all, on the ECG monitor, we will be able to see the spike.
And only spike. Anyone?
Capture.
Yeah, capture. After a spike, there has to be a QRS capture. You have to show that capture. I mean, you have to see that capturing occurring. You have to see the battery life. When was the last battery replaced? Right? And then you should know the classification of permanent pacemakers. Right? That classification goes without saying. They will start with that, and if you are stuck in that, you will not progress any further. So please understand these things. What are they? Now this is a dual chamber pacemaker. What is an AICD?
So it's a biventricular in two chambers.
What is an AICD? Automatic cardioverter. What is it?
So it's a biventricular pacemaker.
Synchronized cardio version,
What?
when there is a
Cardiac shock.
passive phase.
Whenever
When there is a tachycardia,
tachycardia or a ventricular tachycardia or VF, it will automatically shock the heart. What is overdrive pacing, or how do you convert it? Have you any idea about overdrive pacing? This works on the principle of overdrive pacing at times. Anyone in the audience?
It is done in supraventricular tachycardias.
Overdrive pacing is used for correction of atrial fibrillation.
How does it work?
So, in patients who are having a low rate, relatively lower rate of atrial fibrillation, say around 140 or 130, then we can overdrive and set the pacemaker rate to a higher rate than the background rate, and it can correct the atrial fibrillation. It can
And then convert it back?
No, it is not converted.
possibly.
Huh?
I don't know what to do after that.
Yeah, after that, once you overdrive and correct the heart rate there, then you can bring it back as well. So then the rate gets corrected by overdriving the heart at a particular pace and then correcting it back. Overdrive pacing also can be. Okay.
Can a permanent pacemaker do that?
Pardon? No, not in a permanent case. But some of them work on an overdrive principle. If it is a dual one, they have an overdrive, they automatically go into an overdrive mode, convert the pace, convert the rhythm there, and then come down. Okay, now what are your concerns with TURP?
So TURP syndrome. What is it?
You all know what is TURP syndrome, right? It's a basic thing which all of us know. How would you detect TURP syndrome in a patient undergoing general anesthesia?
So there's
General anesthesia and TURP syndrome. Regional, every one of us will know.
there will be hypertension, tachycardia, followed by hypertension, decrease in saturation. So there will be ECG changes. Patient will recover late from the muscle paralysis. There will be QRS widening. On ECG.
Unexplained tachycardia.
Unexplained tachycardia. See, remember that when you have old age patients, they have an endogenous beta blockade, right? So there's beta receptor down regulation and their heart rate will never rise. Even if they have hypertension, the blood pressure would be just 80, 85. I mean, the heart rate would be there. Heart rate doesn't go up in Italy. Hypertension can be there because of overvoluming. Look at the jugular veins, please. Look at your jugular vein all the time. When you give the spinal or when you give GA or give an anesthetic technique, have a overview of the patient. Look at your jugular vein, whether it is full, whether it is not full, whether it is draining, and keep just monitoring the jugular vein. If it gets filled up, you know there is a problem with hypertension, right? It makes things very simple, correct? And if you have a hand on the pulse, you will know that the volume has increased. And if you are good enough to know how to tackle your monitoring, then you will also know what is happening. What happens to the pulse oximeter waveforms? You just put the monitor and see. If I go to the theatre, my first area of observation is at what scale of what kind of waveform I am getting. If it is at a scale of 5, I know the amplification is not there. So I make a watch that this is the waveform I am getting at a scale of 5. Now if it goes to a scale of 10, what does it indicate? That the amplification has totally gone. The scale has changed, right? Or it goes to 2, means the pulse volume has come down. That's why it's trying to auto-regulate, give me a better waveform, but the scale has come down. It is getting magnified. So when you take these when you monitor the monitor properly with something in your head, then you will know what is happening to the patient. So all these parameters, when you take into account together, and when you can also know how much fluid has gone in, how much prostate has been taken out, what is happening at the surgical field, is it oozing too much? Considering all these factors together, you don't have to even bother about, you will know what the problem is. But if you go and WhatsApp in the OT and you forget about it, then it is not going to make any difference whether you are there or not. Right? That is what is happening these days. I'm sorry, but this is what is happening. Okay, what else do you want to, what else are the problems? URP syndrome, okay, fine. So please monitor your jugular vein. If the patient is flat or a patient is a little head up, it will be draining. And in the same position, see when the patient gets volume overload, it will get distended. There will be more bleeding from the site. Because of hypervolemia, it will start oozing more. If you ask the surgeon, he will say, yes, I think the bleeding has increased. Right? So these are the signs which you will have to monitor even if the patient is under general anesthesia. Okay, what else?
The hypothermia.
Okay. So what precautions you will take? We already discussed, but what will you do for hypothermia?
Warm irrigation fluid, bear hugger, and warm IV fluid. OT temperature should be in.
Yes. Main thing is the OT temperature. Because what happens is most of the heat loss occurs because of radiation, 60%. So if you can cover the patient well, it is good. The only thing is you have to make sure that beneath the patient is not getting wet all the time. And if the temperature is cold of the environment and you have a wet patient below, then it is going to make matters worse. Yes, warm solution. How much will you warm the solutions? 38 is room temperature. Anything you keep at room temperature would be 37. What is the temperature to which the fluid should be warmed? Anyone who knows how much degrees you will warm the fluid?
40 degrees Celsius.
Huh? 45. Either to 45 or to 60. So I tried doing one time, I warmed it up to 45 degrees. Then I put the temperature surface probe at the end of the drip set to see what temperature it is going. And to my surprise, it was only coming to 30 degrees. So even if you warm up to 60 degrees, finally when the fluid goes into through the drip set, when it goes through, there's a lot of heat loss which occurs, and you finally end up giving the fluid at a temperature which is much lower than what it is warmed up to. Right? But normally recommended is 45 degrees centigrade. You can warm it up to that level. What's the immediate way of warming the fluid? 2 minutes. Suddenly you want fluids to go. Microwave, yes. Okay, you can microwave them. Don't microwave gelatins. Standard solutions like normal saline, it doesn't alter the status of the salts and solutions. So if you just keep it for 40 seconds, your fluid is warmed up. Don't keep it too much, it may burst because it is likely to, it is going to expand it. So there is no vent inside. So you have to be very careful. I generally keep it for 40 seconds, 50 seconds, and it is warm enough to be transfused immediately. Okay? So that can also be utilized. And if you go into one or two articles, they have measured the energy which is being supplied at how many joules of energy is supplied by a microwave to warm up to what temperature. It's a beautiful article written by a Japanese. So these kind of things can also be used. Don't microwave the blood. Right? So only for balanced salt solutions I'm talking about. That is what it can be used. Okay, warming up fluids, covering the patient, making sure your environment is there is not much of a temperature gradient. What else? Hypothermia is over, DURP is over, bacteremia. Blood loss. Blood loss is another problem. What happens to the blood loss? You cannot quantify it, right? Because everything is filling up in water and it is mixed with water, so you do not know. So how would you estimate the blood loss in a prostatic
So
surgery?
hemoglobin in the irrigation fluid divided by patient's hemoglobin into volume of the irrigation fluid.
And clinically look for pallor.
Yeah, you can look for pallor. You can do an hemoglobin immediately, right? It is more simpler than doing the hemoglobin of the collected blood. So I would get a hemoglobin done for the patient. So sometimes I wonder, when all these formulas are designed, if you can do hemoglobin for the blood there to estimate the blood loss, why not have a pre of hemoglobin and then a hemoglobin of the patient at the table, and you will know what has happened. Why to go into such complications? So there are inline hemoglobin estimation monitors. They are costly, 1 lakh or something, right? Yeah, point of care hemoglobin. There are certain sticks also. If you see, WHO has given a stick and a stick reader, just like your blood glucose, they match the color. So those hemoglobin meters are very nice. You just have to put the punch to do a capillary blood, stain that blotting paper and put it into that. It matches the color which is given and tells you a hemoglobin what it is. So at least a trend can be seen, whether there is a dropping trend, and then you can start with your, you can give some blood to the patient in such situations. Correct? Post-op period. Why does the patient require pain relief in prostatic surgery or doesn't require? Why?
Because of the continuous
So,
irrigation.
irrigation doesn't, there should never be bladder distension.
Because of the cautery,
No,
Because of the continuous lithotomy position.
that for that pain. Why do patients require pain relief after prostatic surgery?
Because of blood clots.
Huh?
Stretching of the capsule.
Stretching of the capsule is cut and prostate is resected out.
So because of residual blood clots in the
That should never happen. That's why there is continuous irrigation, right? They keep measuring how much is going. Because as soon as there is bladder distension, it will start bleeding more. Right? Huh? Yes, Foley's catheter. They will inflate and retract the Foley's catheter so that it acts as a tamponade onto the prostatic fossa to stop the bleeding. That is what is very not painful but distressing to the patient. For that you need to give something, right? So at times epidural catheters, when you give, even if you give a small dose of a narcotic through a catheter, it is good enough for them to take care of that pain. But it does happen. Now suddenly during prosthetic surgery, you have given spinal. The patient moves the leg. What is it? Obturator nerve. So what should you do for that? Why? Should you give it in the beginning?
No, sir.
So when should you give it? It's a direct stimulation of the obturator nerve, correct? So would you like to give an obturator nerve block?
In cases of pure, it is not.
Suppose it's a bladder tumor resection. You should give.
Yes, sir.
You should give an obturator nerve block.
In bladder tumor resection, you have chances of bladder perforation also.
Actually, it's supposed to be something which tells the surgeon not to go more deeper, right? And if you block it, they will not know if they got perforation done or not. So at times it works well that you know that you have now come to the level of the obturator nerve. Please don't go any deeper for the section, right? So that's a good thing. It's a protective mechanism given to the surgeons. So don't block it in the beginning. At times when the tumor is located near to the obturator nerve and they need to resect, that time you will need to block it. Okay? So located near the vicinity, or they have to retract the obturator nerve or something of that sort is there, then we have to block it to help in dissection. Otherwise, don't try to block the obturator nerve. It's a protective reflex which tells them not to go any deeper. Okay, thank you.